sakshat param brahma tasmai shri gurave namo. Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesh, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Hari Ma. Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesh, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Hari Ma. Jama, good to see you.
Good to have you back.
Thank you.
And Uma. Pleasure. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and again, as you see and hear, Bhagavan Das is with us here in the studio, and Uma making their beautiful music and honoring the goddess. Right to the heart.
Yeah.
Just right to the heart.
Yeah. Well, it's like, emptying yourself. It's like giving up and surrendering and letting life flow through you. This is what I'm experiencing in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a situation where what we do is we get a fixed sense of who we are, and therefore we get really exhausted, like keeping ourselves propped up into this solid
persona.
The persona. We're wearing it all the time, and you can see people wearing their masks, and they're wearing their fake grins,
yep,
or whatever it is, and it's sort of heavy on the face.
It's an act.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
We've all gotten so accustomed to in
Exactly.
others and in ourselves.
Right. And we get exhausted. That's why after 12 hours of it, we're exhausted, you see, and our energy is depleted, because it takes a lot of energy to prop up our ego. Whereas what seems to be happening to me in my life is that there's a fluidity to it. There's a transparency that's starting to happen, where the fixation of who I think I am keeps kind of changing and dissolving.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I am everyone, but it's like I feel everyone. And I can see how I am everyone. So there's almost an extension or a giving.
Would you almost say that you become, you see even personality traits in others and you see them in yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's an act like you're referring to.
Right.
It's also got a level of fun to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's ego. Yes, it's persona.
Right.
And it's an act, like Shakespeare said.
Right.
Here's the stage.
Right.
So
exactly.
there's a level of attention that we can bring to that act, right? And enjoy the play of it. The thing is, it seems that we all take it so seriously and get caught by it.
Right. Not realizing that that it is an act, and that we can be lighter about it.
Sure.
Because really, in a sense of, if looking at phenomenal existence, and if the Hindus are right and the Buddhists are right, and it is all empty, and it's all Maya, and a huge illusion of play, then we should all be a lot lighter about it.
Yeah.
You follow? In other words, if that is true,
yes.
Let's just say it's
if
true.
If that, then this.
Then we should all be light, because what really makes a difference is every moment that we're here, and our presence in the moment is where we find the life force. So that means not having a purpose, because you have a plan and a purpose, right? It kind of overburdens the situation. People who have a plan, and you become upon your plan, and they're moving through to get something.
What God, though, Bhagavan Das, has the plan? What is the supreme intelligence? And we are in that game.
Right. I think we are.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a
So someone is playing chess.
Right. But it's aligning maybe with that plan, and not our own plan.
And what if that somehow, on some level, like you're talking about personality kind of dissolving and you have this fluidity, maybe that plan that we speak of, that divine plan, is really on that deepest level our plan.
Yes, it is.
That there's no difference between his plan, so to speak, or
her plan, right,
and our plan.
Right.
The whole idea of the possessive is a bizarre one.
Yes, exactly. Who owns what?
Right.
We don't really even own our own body or our life.
Right.
We don't. How can we, we get so clinging and so obsessed with things that I think we lose our spontaneity in life.
Yeah.
We have too much going. We need to find a way to keep it simpler, I think.
And you've come to music.
I've come to music because I think that first of all, music, to me, music is improv. Improvisation is the secret and the key to real music. And therefore, I never know what's going to happen, and there's an excitement in the space of the sound, how the sound flows.
So are you present when you're playing and you really don't know what's going to happen next?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm listening.
Exciting.
I'm listening and enjoying the surprise and the adventure. And it's especially fun with other musicians who can do that. Because then we can meet in the spaces in between the notes. You see?
So when you sing with Uma, for instance, and you're playing, you don't quite really know how.
I don't know how it's going to flow.
To weave.
Right, and especially too with my tabla player Ray Spiegel, whom I play with, because Ray is such a master, technically,
it's wonderful,
that he's able to, really have fun with me, and both of us can really play with the space between the notes. And Indian music is very profound because what it does is it really transcends music, because the secret of it is one note. Really one note.
Really?
So it goes deeply into the tonal feeling of the note. So that you're putting all of your life force in and in shaping the sound. If you can, does that,
Oh yeah.
So it's different, it's...
I'm hearing it in my ear as you're speaking.
Right.
I'm playing it through.
So the idea is to let the sound come forth from your bones,
Yeah.
so that your whole body vibrates the sound, and it's not just a vocal expression in the chest.
Sure. It becomes a body expression.
Right.
Interestingly, the bones are what conduct the sound vibration anyway in the body.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
yeah, you feel it in your bones. That phrase comes from the fact that we conduct sound vibration, that frequency, in our bones.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Not muscle.
Right, right.
Bone.
So the bones are singing.
Yeah.
So it's singing,
Singing
bone.
bones.
Yeah.
That's an old Zen phrase.
Singing bones? Yeah. Right. It comes to, it's a lot simpler than what we think, I think.
Well, especially when you talk about hitting that one note
Mm-hmm.
and playing off of that. I mean, this instrument, maybe could you take us for a little
Yes,
tour of this instrument?
sure. This is called an Ektara, and it is basically a one-stringed instrument, but there are two strings on it, but they're both tuned the same. So when I'm hitting this string, the top string is resonating. So what it's doing is it's just carrying this note farther out.
Got it.
Further out. Mm-hmm. It's a gourd with skin stretched across it like a banjo, with a bridge and a bamboo, tall bamboo, so the length of the string creates a longer vibration, enabling you to play vocally with it more.
It's like a spinal cord.
Mm-hmm, exactly. It's like the spinal cord. You know, and this is like the root chakra, right, which is big and solid, and then we go up, and at the very top is God,
Yeah.
which is the peacock feather.
The head. You're right.
Exactly, and the peacock feather.
Sure.
And the interesting thing too, if you look at the, you know, this is the eye of God, the peacock feather. Mm-hmm. This peacock feather has been in here for years, and I carry this instrument on airplanes everywhere, right? The peacock feather is never been broken. It's never, and the instrument has been slammed and banged, everything, because you see, it flows.
Yeah.
It doesn't break because it flows. It bends and
It moves with the wind.
It moves with the wind. It flows. So that's how God is, and we are like God. So we're just becoming more like God as we let go of the persona and play with it more and not take the game so seriously.
Yeah.
And then I think we open ourselves so that the divine can play through us more. Very much like Krishna. So that Krishna is playing us and we're his flute. So we're in God's hands with God's lips upon us. And God is blowing this beautiful music through our bodies.
And what our bodies are comprised of is organs.
Right. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's that, you know,
We're full of music.
we are. I think music is a great way to get in touch with love and with your own heart. By taking the breath and putting the word of God with it, or the mantra. See, the mantra means that which protects the mind. So we need to move through the mind mesh, or to come out through this incessant internal dialogue that's going on.
Right.
And the way to really cut through it is with the mantra. So if you've got a phrase or a mantra, and this is why the holy sound of the word of the Divine Mother, which is what the mantra is. You see, it's God in form, which is Ma, which is the female energy. And this is what we need now, is the female. We need to listen more to the women. Not like following the women in that sense, but more equality, that we can really have a yin-yang balance.
In other words, really, I hear you saying, Bhagavan Das, tuning into the feminine, really in us all,
Absolutely.
despite our outer form. It's
Right.
not about that.
No, the men we need to find the mother within us,
That's right.
the girlfriend within us,
That's right.
our own soul, which
The
is
soft
female.
feminine.
which is female for a man and male for a woman.
Sure.
And that way we're not constantly searching for this projection outside of us that is going to then fit our own projection of her. See, what it does is it fits our projection until it starts falling apart, which it always does. And then it becomes a real problem in our life. Because
Hebrew, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I just wanted to say that the Hebrew concept of soul is feminine, Shekinah. And so everyone has this, the quality of the soul, its highest level is the Shekinah, which is female.
Right.
It's embodied and expressed through the feminine.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a direct hit.
Yeah. Right. So listening and bringing in more to an inward drawn state as a practice. See, what brings us in? All of these techniques such as yoga, meditation, chanting, all the spiritual practice, what they do is they take our attention from the outer to the inner. And we need to turn within so that we can then experience our own light and our own soul.
Your music takes people, in my experience of it, and I know many others.
Right.
In fact, I want to tell people, I mean, many people probably recognize you from the show and from the fact that you are known all over the world. Bhagavan Das has been traveling all over the world, actually. Spent a lot of time in India and, of course, in this country, playing, meditating, learning music, studying, researching, and being in caves. I mean, he has lived a life that is actually extraordinary and rarely done these days. For an American who went over to India back at a time when, yes, it was popular to go to India, but it was also popular for many people to come right back soon thereafter. Bhagavan Das stayed and connected to Guru and studied inwardly for many, many years. And actually, for those of you who may know this, I'll just say that he introduced the former psychologist Richard Alpert to his guru, and played a major role in Richard Alpert's personal spiritual development in his becoming Ram Das. And Bhagavan Das, in his own right, has been a very powerful, influential persona, and being, influencing many people across the world, really, with his music and his teaching of Nada Yoga. I just wanted to tell people that, so they knew.
So let me sing a chant to Lord Shiva. This is the form of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the inwardly drawn mind and the senses pulled in to pure peace and bliss. Shiva is seen as the yogi with his matted hair on top of his head, with the crescent moon on his head, and the water of consciousness again out of his hair. Seen sitting in samadhi or inward trance of equanimity, complete balance and perfection. And this is an invocation to that peace. Really, that's what we all want. We want to be happy, and we want inward peace. And it's an inward journey. Shiva. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Namah Shivaya. Om 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 Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Om 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 Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namah. Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namah. Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namah. Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namah. Namah Shivaya. Shiva Shiva Namah Shivaya. Shiva Shiva Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. The breath and the word together equals bliss. The recipe for bliss.
Is that why we're experiencing
Yes.
bliss right now?
Our true nature is bliss. See, Buddha said the first noble truth, it's all suffering. We don't dwell there, we just start there. We need to remove it. And if it's not brought up, how can it be removed?
Right.
If we're pretending that we're happy and being phony, everything's okay,
We don't stand a chance.
right? I mean, it's like, how are you? Everyone's great. Right? Does anyone really want to know? Does anyone really care how you feel at that moment? Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, I sure do.
So we create such a phony situation for ourselves, and we all long for realness in it.
Yeah.
And spiritual practice can only begin when we can acknowledge the beginning. And this is very profound too, of what I've come to realize is that the end is always the beginning. How it ends is how it starts.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning is the end. Always.
Could you say more about that, like on a kind of a practical way?
Right.
You see that?
It's like how you work in your business world, the people that you deal with, in a love relationship. Like, you know it's not really working, but you want something out of it, like sex or money or some ulterior motive, then that's how it's going to end.
I got it.
Follow me? It comes back on you.
In other words, if it doesn't feel wholehearted and true,
Yeah.
a certain kind of resonance,
Yeah.
that's going to show up
Right.
and be involved in its termination.
Exactly. If there's no love in it, why do it? Why do anything without love? Why work a job you hate, exactly, for the money? We need to really trust existence more and trust our own hearts more
Yeah.
and trust our feelings. How does it feel? You see, we don't need to go to psychiatrists and ask people about how we feel.
Right.
We
Ask
know.
yourself.
Does it feel good what you're doing? Do you like where you live? Do you like the people you hang out with?
Pay yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sure. And in other words,
this is
ask
so
these
profound.
very basic questions and check in.
Exactly.
See how it feels. Yeah.
Right. And I think, though, the checking in process, see, when we solidify, when we believe that we are the ego and we believe that we are the body, then we can't really be a bigger body. Follow?
Sure.
If we can be more transparent, then our body can be,
Anywhere.
you can be a squirrel. I mean, you can be the squirrel. I was stopping and, hanging out with your squirrels coming up here.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was a squirrel.
They're fun, aren't they?
I felt like I was a squirrel because I enjoyed the presence of the squirrel. See, the adventure of life and the adventure of consciousness, and that's the space of a child. We love children because children are totally in the moment. That's why they have so much energy. They're so present, and so they bring us into the presence, and everyone loves them. Their innocence, their presence, their trustingness in the moment, it just genuinely touches everyone's hearts.
Their present is a present.
Exactly. One of the names of the Dalai Lama amongst the people close to him is Kunzum in Tibetan. And what it means, translated, is the presence. The presence. Where is the presence now?
Yeah. That's beautiful.
It's not what we do, it's who we are.
Yeah.
And we are love. You cannot love anyone because you are love.
So in a sense, when you check in, you can't love anybody, or you can love everyone.
Right.
Really?
Right. But I mean, the I love you is in a sense a meaningless statement. I love you. I am love. I'm experiencing love.
Yes.
that I am. It's the I am that I am. I'm experiencing I am that I am.
Mm-hmm.
See, then the ego becomes transparent. There's not this authoritarian Bhagavan Das inside of me telling me what to do, and then I have to do it because he's telling me what to do. I'm open to all possibilities at each moment. Therefore, then more energy flows through you. And it's just a lot more fun. And you experience real happiness.
Well, through sound, Bhagavan Das, it would be interesting, I think, for myself certainly and the audience, to hear something about what you know to be the magic of sound, because you spend a lot of time singing. And I know that I spend actually more time speaking, but there is a magic in the activation of the voice.
Right.
The voice is a precious, magical space, and it actually helps to release chemicals in the body that some people who don't stop talking, I think maybe they even get addicted to their own body chemicals that get released, and the energy that gets catalyzed through the voice. But when you sing, your voice is so close to the sound, to the feeling of honey, of milk and honey flowing.
Right.
Don't you experience that, Uma?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Because it washes over us.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, it does.
Just bathe in the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, how you have these two strings? I think that maybe you are also plucking our strings. And so the resonance comes right here.
He's tuning us up.
Exactly.
Well, that's really what it is.
Could you speak to that?
Yes. You see, what we're doing as we're singing, like particularly in Indian music, is we're constantly tuning.
Yeah.
Because as you go farther into the sound, you keep tuning. So it's sharp, flat, flat, sharp, sharp, flat, flat, sharp, until it goes in. And then when it goes, and then you know it's in when it's in. How do you know it's in? You only know it's in because it's out. You see? So it's in, out, in,
That
out.
game, right.
It's that game, but that's the game of life and
That's
death.
right.
Life, death. We die every breath. You see? We're living and dying every moment, all of us. So the breath, what it does is it energizes the body, okay?
Yeah.
You're tuning to find the sound. And as you keep tuning and modulating with the voice and experiencing the emotion, when you put all of the feeling tone in with the vocal tone, it is very, very healthy to your body. You see?
Yes.
It like gives you a bath in nectar.
Yeah.
So we're actually bathing in nectar. And every religion on earth uses music. In fact, all of the ceremonies are music. Because music touches the deepest part of our soul. It's the rhythm, the rocking chair, the nursing baby, and it's the gentle movement, the davening of the Hasids.
That's right.
Right? The call of the mullahs, right, to prayer.
It's music and dance.
Yes.
Because the movements. These
Exactly.
Rhythmic,
The movement
slow
and the dance.
Right.
That's where the chanting is very profound, because endless repetition creates a situation for the nectar of immortality, which is God realization or self-realization, to rise in the consciousness. It's like cooking. You cook it and you cook it with endless repetition. You see?
Oh, yeah.
And in the repetition, the mind dissolves. And the mantra, we go into the bindu of the mantra. The bindu is the point of light inside the sound. See, it's breath, the word, and the light. This is the experience. We are light. We are bathing in light. What we're doing when we're seeing light and looking at things is we're feeding our mind with light. We live on light. This is why yogis can live with no food, because we really live on light.
In
And
fact, we probably get light from the food that's locked into the
exactly,
food. What we're doing in a sense is, I mean, if you do the total chemical analysis, if you had the
With green
ability
food.
to see it from the largest picture, we would be extracting light.
exactly. Tibetan yogis, extreme Tibetan yogis, wall themselves up in a cave with no food and no water. And they wall the entrance to the cave up. And it's totally dark. And
For how long?
for years,
For years.
to develop the inner light in total darkness.
Is it that difficult?
It's not that difficult.
Say no.
No, it's not that difficult. But I just want...
They're just extremists.
They're extremist, but you see, they want to, they want to really have this complete breakthrough in this lifetime. It's not that this is necessary, but if you want to, I mean, it's the same idea with the yogis holding their hands up till they atrophy on top of the head. You see?
Yes.
Standing up and not sleeping. These all seem like these are extreme measures, but behind it is incredible devotion and commitment and love for God. It's an offering up of one's body.
Talking
Completely.
about offering up.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, I
See?
hear it.
And it's
I hear
like,
it.
what is our life for and what are we doing here on earth? And, you know, it gets down to really basic things.
I think our arms are better off, really, not to minimize them,
No.
but for hugging.
Yes.
You know?
Uh-huh.
Isn't that more fun? As an expression of love.
Yes. Yeah.
Basic, as you say.
Yeah.
That's basic.
But some form of discipline and spiritual practice is necessary on a
Yeah.
daily basis.
On
So
that
we can
note,
tune in.
Would you tell us, Bhagavan Das, about the story that I read that you had written up, that Alan Steinfeld had told me about,
Uh-huh.
of the burning fields?
Oh, sure. Yes.
While we're kind of
In that mode?
right,
Between worlds.
and
Well,
music.
right. I had gotten, when Ram Dass finally left India, I returned to my own ascetic practices. I was an ascetic for 6 years in India. I was very harsh on my body. I wanted to prove that I wasn't my body.
And you did.
I did. I was very thin. I fasted for long periods of time. And it wasn't like I was torturing my body to torture my body. I was just completely absorbed in experiencing the bliss of God. And the bliss was so intense that I experienced by chanting for 8 hours a day and sitting up all night. I didn't sleep. I would sit up and I would nod out against the wall, and then I would wake up again and continue my meditation.
Were you under the aegis of Guru at that time?
I was under a Tibetan master by the name of Kalu Rinpoche, who was my meditation master. He himself had lived in a cave for 12 years
Yes, I know.
in Bhutan.
I took refuge with
Oh,
Kalu.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, we're like Dharma brothers.
Yes.
So he was my meditation master. So you being with him, you understand. I would
Oh, yeah.
go and sit with him every day, every morning, and basically all day long. We would meditate together.
Oh.
He would meditate with me. And this
This
went,
is special.
yeah. So after leaving him and being with the Tibetans, I really started getting a lot of devotion to the Divine Mother in the form of Mahakali. Mahakali is the black goddess of death. and time. She devours the world. She is she's seen as the crone, really thin, bony fingers. We've all seen her here in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's very popular in New York, by the way. Kali Ma, right? Her
Creates
tongue,
great wakefulness.
her tongue is usually out, and her eyes are bloodshot, staring in all directions. She has her third eye open. She's eating the world. She is eating life. She's devouring. She's taking away.
A skull in one hand,
A skull
full
cup.
with blood.
Right. Blood, she's a blood drinker. She drinks the blood. The blood symbolizes the ego. Kali removes the ego from us. So I felt that Kali would be the way for me to go, since I wanted quick results. See, I wanted quick results.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You were an impatient American.
I was impatient American. I wanted to attain enlightenment now. I was not into the slow path, the slow, safe path.
I appreciate this.
Yes,
by the way.
and this is the tantric path. That's why they say Tantra is dangerous. Because without a guru, you can go mad. You really can. You can really lose it and not come back. Many, many people this has happened to them. So, I felt, having the grace of my Satguru, Neem Karoli Baba, and having the blessings of my meditation teacher, Kalu Rinpoche, I was able to go into the cremation grounds, which is a very dangerous place because there's many demons and ghosts harboring there. This is where they take all of the bodies in India and they burn the bodies. And they stack them up in India because people are dying like every second. There's, hundreds and hundreds of millions of people.
So
and
it's
it's an ongoing thing.
24 hours a day.
That's right.
Burning the bodies in ditches, basically. Is that it?
No, they have like pits. They have barbecue pits. It's sort of like these huge, long.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 6-foot, like cement slab that goes deep into the ground. And in the burning grounds that I was in, there was like about 25 of these on one row, and then 25 on the other row. And you could walk down the middle of them, and through them, and on the sides. And there would be ongoing 5 or 6 bodies burning in different states of, decay and, burning down. It takes a long time for a body to burn. It takes really a couple of days. And they pour on a lot of wood. So what they do is they put they spread lots of wood out on the bottom, and then the body is laid out, the corpse is laid out on the wood like a sandwich. And then the body is rubbed down with ghee, and then they put on logs on top of the body. So it's like the sandwich is closed, and then it's lit. So with the fat in the body and everything, it burns. And they pour on lots of butter and ghee under the flames.
God.
And then the oldest living son breaks the skull. So this releases the spirit.
Okay.
It releases the spirit.
And you were doing what there?
I went there to meditate on impermanence.
That's the place to go to do it.
Well, it's the quick, it's the quick path.
It's the quick path.
It's the quick and dangerous path.
Yeah.
So I went there and I sat up naked all night, and I took the ashes out of the burning pyres and I put them in a cloth, and then I would go take a bath and I would pour the ashes over my body. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. And I felt like I was Shiva. Right? I was naked, alone, my hair was matted, hanging down. I had a human skull cup that I was given by my Lama, Kalu Rinpoche, in Darjeeling. It was a human skull cup of a young woman who had died naturally. And this was my wife. She was my girlfriend, my skull cup. And I ate all my food out of this skull cup. I drank all of my tea, and it was my only possession, along with my beads, to repeat the different mantras on. So these are my 2 possessions. So I had a cloth, 1 blanket, the beads, and the skull cup, and a little bag to keep them in. That was it. There was nothing else. I had no money, nothing. I depended totally upon whatever happened. So I would sit there with my skull cup, invoking the Divine Mother in the cremation grounds. And fasting. One day after being there 2 weeks, this man arrived, and actually he had been coming there, and I had noticed him a few times, but we had never spoken or said anything. And it wasn't it wasn't like, there was no real introduction. And there was so many people coming and going.
Oh,
They're very busy.
dealing with the bodies.
Yeah, people are coming and there's huge processions and people are crying and it's like a huge trip. So you had that's going on all the time too. So the atmosphere
Yes.
is about,
busy.
it's busy and it's not a worldly vibration.
Yeah.
People want to go, do it, and leave
It's an otherworldly vibration.
completely, which I loved. I loved it. I loved it. I love the other world. And there's wild hyenas and jackals. There's wild dogs whose eyes like glow with light, who like get the bodies when they're burning. They eat them. They go and they snap, and they're snarling over like rib cages or like parts of the body. Sometimes they have like an arm in their hands. If they can rip an arm off before it's burnt, they try to.
Yeah.
And in the larger burning grounds, like in Benares, they have bamboo sticks and they beat the dogs back so that they don't devour the bodies before it's burnt.
So much a foreign
Oh yes,
reality
this
to
is-
what our lives are like.
Right.
It's absolutely foreign.
Right.
So you were there meditating. And
I was there
invoking-
meditating, invoking Kali, and this person was coming in.
Yeah.
I was basically staying out of the main burning area because it was so freaky for me. Just being close by and smelling the smell of, the burning flesh and smelling people's hair burning and so forth was like enough. I didn't necessarily want to get like 5 feet in front of the fire. You know what I'm saying? The atmosphere was intense enough.
You're so
Right?
modest. Wow.
So he came up to me, and one night he came in at about 12 o'clock, right, and said to me, "Come with me."
In English?
Yes. He walked up to me and said, "Come with me." So I picked up my skull cup and my mala and my blanket and went with him. And he walked into the main part of the burning grounds. He took his clothes off. He was wearing just normal Indian clothes, pajamas. Took them off, neatly piled them in a little stack, and completely naked took a shower. And I did the same. And then put the ashes over him. And I also put the ashes on me. Then I followed him, leaving everything behind. We walked towards a pyre that was burning. The body had been put on and the flames were high. There was smoldering fires around it, but this one was a hot one. And the people had put the body on and left. So there was still a body in there. And it was a very, very hot fire. In fact, it was so hot that when you could feel the heat when you got when we got 10 feet away. It was really hot. And I simply followed behind this very skinny little Indian man covered in ashes with shoulder-length hair. Okay, no beard, clean shaven. To my utter amazement, he walked into the fire pit and walked up on top of the burning pyre. He turned around and squatted, like Indians are always squatting. The ground is dirty in India, like in New York, so people don't have chairs. If you want to hang out on a corner, you squat. Yeah, exactly. And you can just hang out anywhere because you're not touching the ground.
Yeah.
So he's squatting on top of this burning flames. My mind is completely blown. I was on no psychedelics or drugs except fasting and living there for 2 weeks. So I was in a very altered state. I sat down in front of the fire and I went into Padmasana. I went into lotus position. And I could not believe what I was seeing. I moved as close as I could bear the heat to see him.
Yeah.
What I saw was his body started getting darker and darker and darker until it became black. Then, to my utter amazement and horror, I noticed that he had breasts, like sagging breasts, and he had a vagina. His penis was gone. And it was really a vagina. And he reached down, and his eyes got really big, and fangs came in his mouth. His teeth looked really sharp. And he reached down his hand and started picking out parts of the body and eating them. Right? And I was in beyond shock. I was like, I couldn't even move. My whole body was like shaking. Then he started breathing. As he was chewing on a piece of flesh. And then he started like this really intense breath. And it was like he was breathing in the fire, right? And his hair just like stood up all around the top of his head. And it was Kali Ma. It was her. It wasn't him. He just completely dissolved, and it was her. It was her.
Became her.
He totally became her. Or she became him. Whatever, right? And he was doing his mantra and breathing the fire. And then he started reaching down and taking handfuls of burning coals and bathing in it all over his body. It was like bathing in the coals like this, pouring fire over his body. And he was laughing, this hysterical laugh. Then, the next thing I knew, he reached down and grabbed fistfuls of burning coals and started throwing them on me. I was so out of my body that I was smelling my flesh burning as the coals were burning into my leg.
Oh.
I still have scars on my legs. So it really happened.
Yeah.
I stayed there, I don't know how long, because I was in eternity. But I couldn't bear the intensity of it anymore. And I broke my asana, my posture, my lotus position. I was probably there half an hour or an hour. I broke it and I prostrated, full prostration to Kali Ma, right? And I backed up very slowly, keeping my eyes focused on her, not wanting to turn my back on her. And I slowly made my way out and got back into the cool air of life. And I sat and I shook and I shook. And who knows what time it was or how long we were in there. But I went into a complete state of trance for the rest of the night. I sat up outside and I continued chanting my mantra. And the dawn was breaking, and all of a sudden he comes walking towards me with his clothes on, and he was like, let's have a chai, let's have a cup of tea, mentioning nothing about the night. It was just now it was just Mashani Baba, it was just this little Indian man. It was like a little clerk, it was like Mr. Nobody. And we sat down, we drank a tea, we smoked an Indian cigarette, this little beedi, we each had a smoke, drank the tea.
Appropriate.
Nothing was said. I bowed to him. He, namaste, like this.
Yes.
And then he went on to work.
At the railroad station.
At the railroad station. He worked as a clerk in the railroad station all day. He left his job. He bicycled home at 5 o'clock at night. He did his family, had dinner with them, played with the kids, did his whole trip. Everybody went to sleep. He left at 12 o'clock every night, spent the whole night doing this in the burning grounds for 11 years when I met him. And he had 1 year to go before he attained enlightenment. So that's the story. Jai Ma. Well, let's chant to her now.
Yes.
Jayam Mandala Kali Shiva Sama, Shiva Datre, Swaha Svara Namostite, Sarvamangala Mangaliye, Shiva Sarvata Sarike, Sharanya Trayambaki Gauri, Talayani Namostute, Kali Narayani Namostite, Kali Narayani Namostite, Amma Narayani Namostite, Shima Narayani Namostite, Karunamayi Narayani Namostite, Shakti, Karunamayi Narayani Namostite, Mashani Narayani Namostite, Kali Narayani Namostite, Mashani, Mashani Ma, Kali, Kali Durga Nama Nama, Kali Durga Nama Nama, Kali Durga Nama Nama, Magare Durga Nama Nama, Hari Durga Nama Nama, Hari Durga Nama Nama, Hari Durga Nama